Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB Live Before Lock early slate. Then a big slate tonight. I think 7 more games, but I'm excited. You know why? Because I get to do a show with my boy, Josh Engleman, back better than ever. Dave Loughran, Josh Engleman, Live Before Lock, early slate. What's up, brother? I missed you.
I miss you too, man. We have not done a show together in a minute. And if you were hoping for MLB conversation today, boy, are you out of luck, because we're going to be, this is just, it's not going to happen. Have you been watching Tires? Have you finished Tires?
I enjoyed it, dude.
I still have 2 episodes left.
I enjoyed it. They already renewed it for a season 2.
Yeah, I'm taking my time on it. I don't want to just.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
Durbin
I love it.
Steals the show.
He's so good.
It's very good. Stavros in there. But we will talk baseball because it's a Live Before Lock and not a strategy show. If it was strategy show, this would be an issue. Nah, no off the rails today. We got plenty to talk about. Should be a fun one. Jake says, what's up, Josh? Nice to have you on an MLB show. Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to be on more of these going forward. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. Like, you had the sweep in the Boston Pacers series. I have Boston to win 4-1. I think I get that if Halliburton stays healthy. I think I get one.
Probably, yeah.
You know, one like like a close win in Indy, whatever. Minnesota steals one yesterday. That gives the game 5, but we'll see. We'll see. Point being, point Clips, that isn't insane. If you're saying Shane Gillis makes it unwatchable, you are insane. But besides the point.
No, he has to be the co-main star that he can't beat Shane. He has
Gervins is hilarious.
He's the best part of the show.
The best part is that's him in real life.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, like you got what? Maybe 1 or 2 more games. Who knows? Maybe it goes 7. I don't. But fact of the matter is, you're not going to have every day with basketball again for the rest of the season. So yeah
He's crazy. He means Gervins. He's out of his mind. He couldn't be more wrong, Clips.
Keep watching, dude. Keep watching. But hey, happy to have you guys with us. If you don't mind, do us a big solid here. Atone for your sins. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Goes a long way for us. We greatly appreciate you doing that for us. Conscious, what's up? What's up, everybody? We got some baseball to talk about. Only 5 games, but still a decent slate. Got to say, though, like on the surface, pitching looks pretty ugly. There's a couple guys, though, that I like. This might be the slate where I'm just getting the pitchers that aren't particularly popular, maybe don't profile amazingly well. But when you look at some of the guys getting ownership up top, I'd be lying to you if I said I was, enthusiastically rostering Dane Dunning and Christopher Sanchez. Doesn't mean you're not getting there, right? But like, Sanchez, Dunning, and David Peterson are 3 of the 4 highest owned guys on the slate.
I basically don't have Dunning. I have 2x the field of Sanchez, and Darvish is in all but one of my lineups. So I've made my stance.
Yeah, I might be taking a bit of a stance on old Braxton Garrett here. Or Kyle Harrison. I think both of them are extremely viable today.
I have 0 Garrett.
So Garrett's coming off well, he could also just get destroyed. Don't get me wrong. It is funny. Like, San Diego hasn't been that good against lefties. They did, Luzardo yesterday, who's clearly better than Garrett, didn't have a great start. But when you only have 10 pitchers, and some of these guys aren't particularly good, Garrett's coming off the complete game shutout against an Arizona team that I know they've been struggling lately, but they've been good against lefties. And Garrett, through his first 2 starts, had undoubtedly been unlucky. I mean, very unlucky. He had like a 10+ ERA and a 4x ERA. So I do think there's some good stuff to get into here.
I'm excited to talk about it. Basically, it's such a different vibe than talking about the same game over and over and over again, like I've been doing for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's got to become a bit of a drag.
You know the deal, man. You run out of shit to say.
Well, even from a betting perspective, like doing betting videos and underdog videos on it, it's like, all right, well, this might happen because coaches sometimes, like, if nobody makes adjustments, then there's just nothing to say.
No. Because this guy's salary is $200 more than it was before.
Right.
All right.
Right. From a betting perspective, you're just getting the same lines every single day. But anyway, let's dig into it. So on this slate, right, 5 games, You guys already know. I don't know why DraftKings like they got to figure out a better way to just remove these games that aren't on the slate from the from the actual contest.
Disagree.
Why, you just want people to screw up?
Yeah, of course.
That makes sense. But here's the thing.
I know people.
I think even the dumbest of people will see the big red on the names and just not click them.
I don't know. There's probably like 6 people in our YouTube chat right now that'll game stack that game.
Hey, welcome back, Josh Engleman. But yeah, so I don't know, man. I think the most obvious one you're looking at is Yu Darvish, and you mentioned you have a ton of Yu Darvish today.
Yeah.
Like he clearly stands out. He 52% owned on DraftKings, so it's not like Yu Darvish is an under the radar play by any stretch. But you're still getting somebody that is going up against the Miami Marlins, who have, you know, a very low total, sitting at what, 3.1 today in San Diego, relatively pitcher-friendly park. And then you look at the rest of the pitchers on this slate, like just go through all of them, including James Paxton, because he's not near the same pitcher that he was, you know, years back before myriad injuries.
Yeah.
There is not one, unless you disagree, but outside of Darvish, there isn't one like reliable pitcher on this slate. Doesn't mean there aren't good options at their salaries, but I don't think there's a reliable pitcher on this slate.
No, it's a gross pitching slate if we really just want to sum it up. I mean, you can just tell from looking at the salaries. We don't really have anything, like you can kind of roster whatever combination of pitchers you're looking for, and it's not really going to affect what you're trying to do at hitters. I mean, Yu Darvish is the most expensive guy. He's 8,500. We're not even in sniffing distance of the 9K range or the high 9. 8,500. It's just, we're jam-packed. It's a small slate. You don't really need to go all the way down to like the Ryan Nelsons of the world and try to save any additional salary, because it's like that. There's a reason we see Yu Darvish be 50% owned right now. It's because he's not that expensive, and it's really, really easy to just roster the guy that projects the best and deal with it in other spots of your lineup. I don't know how you get away from Darvish today.
It's kind of crazy too, because there's no obscenely high totals on this slate either.
No, it's really manageable run total. Like everything is just meh. Everything's just flat.
It's completely flat outside of one spot. Like everything's flat outside of Miami against Darvish. You don't even have Coors on this slate.
No.
Like if you had Coors on this slate, it would make things. It's Ty Block today against Logan Allen, who's given up, you know, some of the most home runs on the season.
Well, we don't have Coors. I'm actually surprised that we don't see a bigger total in Cincinnati.
I thought you would too. Also, I thought the DraftKings would price pitching up a little bit more. They do that often when you don't have, you know, any crazy pitching options on some of these smaller slates, but they didn't. Like you said, Darvish, the highest owned, or the highest priced at 8,500. The Cincinnati one, yeah. So we can dig into that, because
I'm jamming these two teams.
Are you? I mean, you kind of have to, right? Palante, and Frankie Montas.
Palante?
No, Palante. According to Baseball Reference, Palante. I try and do my homework because, and I could be wrong. Maybe they just did it poorly, incorrectly. I try not to be the guy that just like wildly pronounces names incorrectly. It happens sometimes. Like Christian Brown got me. Okay.
Well, that's just not right.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
You know, like you can't be like, it can't be brown and be like, oh, I pronounce it green. Like it's not, this is just wrong. This is just wrong. There's a difference here.
But I try not to like go, because who's going to ever take you seriously when just like one of 5 names you're butchering? You know what I mean?
No, it's.
But I would also be lying if I told you I had a distinct knowledge of Andre Palante as well.
Yeah, no one's going to have a distinct knowledge of him except for his parents by the end of this one, because he's not very good.
Yeah, but what's the weather like right now in Cincy?
That's a good question. I thought you were asking me personally. I was like, it's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful here too, man.
So 60,
actually
65?
Not great.
Yeah.
And storms. Winds blowing out at 10 miles per hour.
More than half of my ownership is going to this game right now.
And it looks like the rain should, I don't think I'm going to pull the radar up too, but it doesn't look like for now that the rain's going to be a huge issue.
No, for bats especially, it doesn't seem like it's a threat for the game itself.
That's really all I care about. Like, okay, if a starter gets pulled and they have to bring in like a back of the bullpen arm, to eat up for 3 or 4 innings in relief, I don't think either of us are complaining about that. So
no, not at all.
But just pulling it up here, I just want to see, because this is, I assume, a 1 o'clock game. Yeah, 1:10.
You would be correct. This is the first game.
Looks fine. Looks fine. Yeah, I think we're okay.
Speaking of game, I'm hoping we can get a couple of these 4 o'clock lineups in the next half hour plus.
Man, why is that total? I honestly would have. I mean, it's not super low. What is it, sitting at 10?
Yeah, I just like it doesn't break away as much as I thought it was going to. Like don't get me wrong, it's massive compared to the Giants and Phillies. It's massive compared to the Padres and the Marlins. Like it's big.
Thank you.
Wouldn't have been surprised to see it be a little bit higher, just given what that park is, but just doesn't seem like the weather's breaking that way for Cincinnati today.
9.5 total. Yeah, it's not that high, but it's tough to get away from this too. I mean, when we'll get back to pitching, we'll jump around. And if you guys have questions, you already know, just hit us up in chat. Happy to answer them over the next, what do we have? Like 45, 50 minutes that we can get into this.
I mean, slate locks at 1:10. So we have we basically have a full hour if we needed it.
All right. I think we need to dig into this Palante character a little bit more, because I just pulled
like the pronunciation.
What?
Like the pronunciation?
Listen, I tend to trust Baseball Reference more times than not.
Yeah.
They don't lead me astray. Like 99% of the time.
I'm with you.
They're good.
I'm with you.
Know what I mean?
You want to dig into him?
No,
I don't even know that. I mean that I'm not, that isn't a joke or anything. You mean like you want to talk about this guy as a potentially rosterable, that's the guy you want to lead with?
No, I want to talk about how the Reds should have a total that's higher than 5.1.
Okay. The way you said it, I was just like, this is not where I thought we were starting on the pitching breakdown today.
No. So this guy,
bringing it in, start from the ass end of the list.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, cue the 7 scoreless innings right after that remark.
Oh yeah. While I have 28% of my exposure going to Cincinnati.
All right. So he's thrown, and most of these aren't starts. That's why I don't know a ton about this guy. Like 68 innings in relief last season with the St. Louis. Hold on. Let me just make sure of something real quick. Like, how deep do we think he goes into this game?
I gave him a little over 5 innings.
Is he stretched out through 53 pitches last time out? Okay. Yeah. So I think it's reasonable to put him in like the 60-70 range.
Yeah.
So last year, 68 innings in relief, where generally you see more strikeouts, right? Than as a starter.
Yeah, of course.
14% K rate. 2022, 108 innings, 47 appearances, 10 starts. He had a 16% K rate. So like there is virtually, even at AAA, like even at AAA and AA, this guy has had 0 swing and miss stuff. And I know it's not warm in Cincinnati, but that also Cincinnati, like after it rains, is a homer friendly. This
is not a ballpark where you don't want, like, where you want to be a pitcher that can't miss bats.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's Coors Northeast.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cincinnati.
Well, I mean, this is the homer park.
Correct.
This
Coors
is
the runs park.
If you aren't able to get strikeouts and guys are putting the barrel of the bat on the ball, like this is the worst place to do that. So I'm hoping it goes quite poorly for him.
Here's the crazy thing. I'm not sure I've ever seen a ground ball rate like this.
75.
70% ground ball.
Jesus.
Okay. Career. It's fucking crazy. 70% ground ball rate. I'm not joking. Like, I'm not sure I've seen, I don't know, maybe prime Dallas Keuchel or something.
I was going to say Brandon Webb.
Yeah. That actually deters me a little bit. If everyone,
well, when the ball's not a ground ball, it's in the bleachers.
Not a lot of home runs either, dude.
No. Now the power expected power numbers have been good.
Yeah. Am I talking myself off these Cincinnati bets because he has 100% ground ball rate?
All right, last year, the highest ground ball rate of any qualified starting pitcher was Logan Webb at 62%.
Yeah.
The next closest was Framber Valdez at 54.
Yeah. Yeah. 186 career innings, 70% ground ball rate.
Oh boy.
That's nuts.
Well,
Dude,
shout out to everybody on the Reds though, because I need them to bludgeon this dude.
Just saying, last year in 68 innings, 78% ground ball rate for Palante.
Everything's just getting beaten into the ground.
Straight worm burners for this guy.
Yeah.
James Elwood, $25 super chat. Thanks, man. Got my first real DFS payday last week on the early slate. First place in the $9 on FanDuel. Still not sure exactly how, but I give you guys all the credit. Thank you, Stokastic community. Awesome, man. Congratulations.
Love to see it, man.
Love to see it too. But yeah. All right. So I'm not trying to sound crazy here, but I think I now know why Cincinnati's total isn't 6.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to get, he's not very good, but for some reason it doesn't go ultra bad.
Yeah. Also, he's probably only pitching like 4 innings. If you know, and it's a good park. What's that?
I'm just thinking about my exposures here. As of right now, I have 88% of all of my hitting in the first 2 games. And if I'm not in first right out of the gate, I'm going to get destroyed.
Start building for the main slate, pretty much.
Yeah,
for
real.
Give you plenty of time. But just back to pitchers for a second, and I ran the Sims. We're going to get into this as well. You look at the early slate of pitchers. There's from an ownership. So just look at ownership for a second. Darvish is around 50.
Yeah.
And Sanchez, Dunning, and Harrison are all around between 25 and 30. Peterson's at 21. Montas isn't getting much. Braxton Garrett's getting 16%. Palante, nothing. And I have no interest in rostering him anyway. You can't. Paxton at that price point, 8,200. He's getting nothing. And then Ryan Nelson. But the two people, like Kyle Harrison, is actually interesting to me. And I'm going to go into my bag of tricks here and just from my knowledge of this Philadelphia Phillies team and tell you that when this team goes cold, they go ice cold. When they're hot, they can't lose. When they go cold, they go ice cold. Yeah, anecdotal. But go back. I mean, this team just lost a series at Coors. They were just scoreless in 10 innings yesterday in a bullpen game against fucking Spencer Howard and company in San Francisco. Like Wheeler tossed an absolute gem, meant nothing, right? Will never be, who cares? I think there are certain times where I'm willing to look at a team, not just the Phillies, but any team that's performing poorly and does have strikeouts in the lineup, and roster those guys. Not to mention, like outside of Real Muto and Bohm, what righties actually concern you for this Philadelphia offense?
Let me hop back to it here. Game 3.
Sosa, Rojas, Castellanos is just, he's going to strike out. There's strikeouts.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to short him.
No,
at least from a power perspective. But
Sure.
Sosa, no. Rojas, obviously, no. How do you say that? Pache?
Pache.
I feel like you're setting me up with that one.
It's correct.
Which one, me or you?
Oh, me.
Pache. Okay. Anyway, also no. So yeah, you're not a lot of righty threats in
Is
this
that
Phillies
lineup
lineup.
confirmed?
No.
Okay.
No. No, it is not.
But I mean, that's not the best lineup at all. So
no,
well,
I mean,
I
have them with a 315 aggregate projected WOBA. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th of the 10 teams today. So not very good.
Yeah, listen, there's still like Bohm's not going to strike out. Sosa doesn't have a particularly high K rate. He's also just, he's been pretty good against lefties. I'll give it to him. He has, but Harper is an amazing player, but Harper Rojas, Schwarber, Castellanos, Pache all have 25+% K rates. Like that's 5 guys right there in the projected lineup with 25+% K rates in a good park in San Francisco. And this team scored like 2 runs over the last week.
I'm looking at that. Yeah, like when you look at the Kyle Harrison data, his only real true issue is 217 x ISO to righties over the past year and a half. It's not the most fun, but like between this park and the power that Philly is trotting out, like I'm basically neutral to Harrison right now. I wouldn't mind having a little bit more. I just don't know where I take it from. In theory, I could probably cut you Darvish from 98% to 88% and give Kyle Harrison 10 more and feel pretty good about it. But I think he looks good at 8K. I think the problem is just that he's priced so closely to Darvish. Like for this slate, for real, Darvish should probably be like 9,200, and that would really flatten everything out.
So I agree, but also I think the question also becomes like, okay, so Philly's expensive, right? So like Philly's one of the most expensive teams on the slate. If you're wiping them out by playing Harrison, how hard is it to just play Harrison and Darvish together?
As far as I'm concerned, not hard. Let me look and see how highly ranked my first lineup is with both of those guys. I assume it's about as close to the top as you're going to get. Let's see. My 5th ranked lineup is Darvish Harrison with a 5-man Cardinals stack.
Okay. I definitely think the Cardinals, well, actually, we'll get into that, but just circling back here for a second, the one that you mentioned earlier, 2 guys, Christopher Sanchez and Dunning. So what do your exposures look like to Sanchez, Dunning, and Harrison? Actually, yeah, you can throw Peterson in there too, because all of those guys are getting between 20 and 30%.
You said Sanchez, Dunning,
Peterson, and Harrison.
Okay, so Harrison, call it neutral. Dunning, I don't have any. He is the big fade for me. I have 2%. We're projecting somewhere around 28. Peterson, basically neutral. And then Sanchez is the guy that I'm taking a stand on. He's my 2nd most exposed pitcher right now. So whether you want to go to the stand of Christopher Sanchez or the fade of Dane Dunning, we can go either direction.
It's very interesting for me is Jason Gordon in chat. What's up, Jason? Said the Sims keep pushing Arizona stacks for me. I mean, is that the way to go? Or do you bump up the first? Look, Arizona stacks, if Dane Dunning is that popular, I don't have an issue with that at all. Like Dunning has a pretty high barrel rate this year. He's 1 game removed from coming off the IL, didn't pitch that deep. Texas does not have a particularly good bullpen. It's bottom 10. So I have 0 issues with that whatsoever, getting to Arizona bats. Plus, if the Sims is giving us heavy Arizona, doesn't always mean it's going to work because it's baseball. But, it has worked. We've like Matt and I and Greg and I have talked a lot about it where you'll get something that might seem odd. And then like the other day, not getting Skubal and Reagans together, Skubal ends up getting blown up. The Reagans with the cheap pitcher and the stacks that we had in the Sims ended up taking down tournaments. It's just the way it is. And a lot of this is ownership. It's leverage. It's all of that, Josh. And it's, how does it sim out after you've run it, tens of thousands of times? So if this is saying, look, when you simulate this, the Dane Dunning ownership is high, the Arizona stack ownership is lower than it should be, and this looks like a good stack, then it makes a lot of sense to me.
And yeah, I have about 16% aggregate of the Diamondbacks. They're projected for about 10% ownership. So I'm well over the field, which makes sense. If I'm not playing Dunning, I might as well play some of the Diamondbacks too.
By the way, we have not run a Sims promo since before the MLB season started.
So good.
I've been waiting for this one. I've been asking. I was like, can we do one, please? Get like 50% off. 50% off your first month of MLB Sims. Basketball's almost over. Like you're gonna have multiple days in between games going forward. You know what I mean? That's what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna have multiple games in between days, like 3 NBA games a week. MLB Sims, figure there's a perfect time to do it. 50% off the entire Sims Max package for the month. Link is in the description and the chat. The Mookie promo code will already be like it'll be in there for you. 50% off in the chat, in the description. If you've been on the fence waiting to get in, Josh, better time than ever. By the way, it's not just the Sims, it's every single MLB tool, data piece we have, Discord. I don't think I'm missing anything, but it's everything for MLB that we have.
Every single projections, ownership, top stacks, top pitchers, top batters, the data, the contest generator, the post contest sim. I mean, Discord, every single thing that we have on the MLB side is covered. You guys, if you could have been a lot luckier. If Mookie Betts wore the number 100, it would have just been free. But unfortunately for us, he only wears the number 50. You guys would have been
Which I had no clue about, by the way. I don't know any
clue.
numbers for baseball.
No, Griffey, when I was a kid, was like one of the only ones that anybody gave a shit about. Frank Thomas, those were the ones that I remember. I could tell you baseball jersey numbers from 1994 better than I can tell you them now.
It's funny you say that, because if you asked me like the Phillies World Series, the 08 numbers, I could give you them.
Yeah.
But
like Utley, Howard, those guys.
Yeah. Harper's 3, right?
No,
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't look at that.
Well, it mattered so much as a kid because for like baseball all-stars, when you get to pick your own number and stuff, it was right. You were like fist fighting your friends. Exactly. To be like, oh no, I get 24.
Yeah. But yeah, Boss Bro, yes, all of the other stuff as well. Top pitchers, top stacks, top hitters, ownership, player projections, lineup generator, late swap tool, post contest simulator. You use that every day, I know for a fact.
The first thing that I'm either in there the night before if the data's up, or the first thing that I do in the morning. I spent probably 90 minutes last night after the NBA games were done poring over duplicate data. It's a great resource.
Yeah. That people don't use enough, for sure.
Yeah.
But fellas, 50% off. So if you want to come join us, say hello and chat too. And if you have any questions, hit us up. Happy to answer them, especially with the Sims. Very easy to use. And you can do a lot with it too. It's not just like hit a button and then run it. Although if you want to, you can. But link down there in the description and chat. The entire month, 50% off. Probably the best promo we'll run for baseball all season, I would imagine. Because no big holidays are coming up after this other than like 4th of July.
I mean, Flag Day.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
Of course. Braxton Garrett. There's something interesting about this fella. Like, first of all, he grades out well in our tools. He's positively leveraged.
Same for me.
You know why he's at least interested or worth a conversation for me? And again, you guys have questions, hit us up. Yesterday, Matt and I just took them one by one with the pitchers and stacks and ripped them off for you guys. But the reason he's interesting to me is because how much better is Christopher Sanchez? How much better is Dane Dunning? How much better? I'll even say Kyle Harrison. Like, Kyle Harrison's not bad, but he's not a stud, right? Like, he's not reliably consistent. How much better is David Peterson? I know they're all in somewhat different price points, and Garrett's 7,800, most notably because he's coming off that complete game shutout in a tough matchup. But I think there is something to be said about he does have strikeout upside. And I know San Diego doesn't strike out at a high clip, but they've been bottom half of the league against lefties this year. Just throwing it out there because it's a 5-game slate, and I'm not enamored with a single pitcher outside of you, Darvish.
So he's one of 2 guys that I don't have at all. I don't have a single share of Braxton Garrett. Now, he's a good pitcher, but he's not really like the best fantasy option for 2 reasons. One, not an overwhelming strikeout guy, not like a 0 strikeout guy, but that is not, it's not his forte. San Diego projects to strike out less than anybody on this slate. It is not close. When you have Luis Arias in the leadoff spot, who is basically a non-strikeout, that doesn't help. Steamer strikeout rates for the 9 guys projected in the San Diego lineup. The highest strikeout rate projected of anybody in that lineup is 20%. Nobody higher than that. So nobody's even over the league average of strikeout rate. Everybody's buried in the teens or even in single digits like Luis Arias. Yep. That's where it starts to get problematic. The park, at the very least, helps Braxton Garrett. It's mostly like a neutral park, kind of kills lefty power. That's about it. I'm having trouble seeing him having a ceiling type game on a day like today at his price tag. Like, I think it's just way easier to get to someone like Kyle Harrison than it is to get to Braxton Garrett or to get to Christopher Sanchez and get to Braxton Garrett. He does have some problems with righty power too. 180 x ISO over the past year and a half. That's over about 2,000 pitches. So Tatis is going to look good here. Manny Machado is going to look good here. Campusano, if he's in the lineup, is going to look good here. They are running a lot of lefties, or at least enough lefties that it's not super duper interesting. Profar doesn't exactly have a lot of pop anymore. Cronenworth, no pop. Luis Arias, no pop. So, like, from a power perspective, I don't think it's that bad for Braxton Garrett. I think it's just going to be a lot of balls in play.
Yeah, look, for sure, the biggest knock on this matchup, and I mentioned it as well, is the lack of strikeouts. But, you know, that same matchup against Arizona, they have the same strikeout rate versus lefties as the Padres do, except the Arizona has a 116 WRC plus, San Diego's at 91. Arizona has a 153 ISO, San Diego's at 120. I don't think San Diego's nearly as bad against lefties as they've looked so far this season. But the only reason I throw it out there is because it's still one of those slates where we just don't have actual good options. Like, you're just going to have to choose from very type of plays and hope that they don't get blown up.
I'm less concerned with that on the pitching side. Like,
less concerned with what?
I feel like I can just funnel to the best options on the pitching end, and it's opening me up to get better options hitting. Like, because of the pricing, I just don't feel like I need to take that Braxton Garrett chance now. If this were a slightly different slate, if pricing was a little bit tougher at the top, then I think that would start to open up Garrett more.
Yeah, that's fine. By the way, I'm happy to take stands on players.
Yeah.
Like the Matt Waldrons of the world. This is not a stand.
No.
Especially now that his price has come up considerably from where it was last time.
By the way, we got the Rangers lineup.
Is it what we expected?
I was just saying it so that, people knew that it came in.
Okay. So I assume we're still waiting on, like,
we're waiting on all of the 4:00 games. We need 6 more lineups.
Yeah.
Rangers lineup is very different. Really? No Marcus Semien.
Okay.
So that has changed up the Rangers lineup pretty dramatically.
Still not sure how much it changes, though, just because you're probably not getting that much Ryan Nelson.
No, not so much. But the Rangers lineup definitely came in worse than we were expecting.
Agreed. Any other pitchers worth talking about here? Because I think once we get to the stacks, it's going to be a really interesting conversation. Because none of these guys are great.
I mean, is James Paxton he's just nothing now, right? Like, we don't have to care because he's not owned at all. And I think that's largely a pay up to be contrarian type situation. 8,200 is just not the right price for him in this spot.
Well, yeah, he's sandwiched between Darvish and Harrison, right? So
yeah. He's just not, he doesn't miss any bats anymore.
It's a shame, man. Like, this guy has a strikeout rate that's sitting at 13% this season.
Yeah.
13% K rate, 8% swinging strike rate. Like, that's down so far from his career average. That's down 4% from his career average.
Like, part of me kind of likes him today just because of the ownership. Like, he's under-owned.
If James Paxton has a decent game today, and everyone else is just not, like, namely Darvish just isn't good.
Yeah.
Then it's going to take you places for sure.
Highest positive leverage of any pitcher is James Paxton right now.
Man. 5.48 xERA, 5.45 xFIP. The numbers just don't look good. What are his expected power numbers against righties?
173 over the past year and a half.
ISO?
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It's not great. 209 real. So it's been worse in real life.
Yeah, that's not horrible. Expected WOBA?
Not bad, actually. 328. And like
okay.
lefties don't touch him. So
Right. That's what I was asking about. Yeah, against righties.
yeah,
And I
I
would
think he's
assume that
sneaky given that ownership.
what's the Mets total?
I have it at 4.4.
Yeah, it's
We
not
probably
even
have it
that
like
high.
4.8.
4.6. Yeah, we're always a tad bit higher. Yeah. Are you getting any? You don't need to get much to get over the field. He's 6% owned on a
Yeah.
5-game slate.
I have 12. Wouldn't mind getting to like 15, 16, something like that. I assume when I run my final, like in like 10, 15 minutes. Well, actually, I mean, I'll be running it all the way up until, the lineup stop coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised if I do like a little bit of a negative boost to Darvish, just pull him down from being in every single lineup that I have, get a little bit more Paxton, get a little bit more Harrison, and kind of just walk away from there. But Paxton looks a little sneaky to me.
Do you have any interest in Montas?
Not really. I just have so much of the hitting in this game that I'm finding it pretty difficult to get to any of these guys. I will say though, I do think Frankie Montas is underowned for what we're
I
getting
do
here.
too.
Pretty dramatically, actually. I think he's the most underowned guy that is on the slate.
I think like if you're talking sneaky, first of all, Frankie Montas has just fallen off a cliff since those days in Oakland where he was actually quite good, right? Like there was a time where Frankie Montas was like a 9K pitcher on DraftKings. Those days are long gone. The strikeout stuff hasn't been there, but this is kind of like I guess you'd say what, stoppable force versus a movable object, because
Yeah, kind of.
the St. Louis Cardinals aren't a particularly good baseball team either. And while
No.
Great American Ballpark is definitely good for hitting, it's not like weather conditions that are going to jump off the page at you either. So it feels just kind of neutral across the board.
Here's the problem for Montas. Last year and a half, 12% K rate to lefties. Not very good. 194 x ISO, 374 x WOBA. He's not having any trouble getting righties out. The lefties in this Cardinal lineup should thrive against Montas, whether that's Nootbaar, Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman. The power potential here for the lefties for St. Louis, that's the scary part against Montas. If he mitigates if he mitigates that lefty power, then he's in a really decent spot.
Amazing that none of the 6 home runs he's allowed this season have come at home. All 6 of them have come on the road.
That's
surprising. Unique. Yeah. Montas isn't particularly good, but
no, not
in
anymore.
Seattle or St. Louis, WRC plus, they're 8th against righties. But as far as like power, they've been very average, 24th, below average, really, against righties, 24%.
We just got the Mets lineup.
Okay. 24% K rate.
Ooh. No Brandon Nimmo. So Mets lineup is also very different today.
No Nimmo.
Yeah.
There's your there James Paxton. There you go.
I would have rather had Nimmo in the lineup.
Yeah, right.
Keep me the lefty. Right. The only thing you can get out.
I know. That's a good point. Yeah, now you just play some. Who's in? Just a replacement level righty?
I didn't really look any further. Yeah. I just saw that Nimmo's name wasn't there.
So let's talk about bats here. When you're looking at the stacks, you have our top stacks tool, right? And obviously, like I use the stacks tool and top pitchers tool in conjunction with the Sims tool. You don't need to, and a lot of that's baked into it anyway because they're kind of simulations in their own right, Josh. But I like to look at all of that, and the one thing that stands out to me when you're looking at the top stacks tool, for those of you guys taking the 50% off, pull it up. It's under the MLB data, under the premium data. You'll see what I'm talking about here. There are, if you top stack percentage, you have 6 of the 10 teams between 10 and 14%.
Yeah. Big gaps today.
Some really big gaps. And then you look at the implied totals, they're all between 4.5 and 5. It's just, you know, you're splitting hairs trying to look at one of these and being like, they're way better than the other.
I like personally, I do think the Cardinals are the top option. But whether you're looking at the Cardinals, the Rangers, the Diamondbacks, the Reds, I don't think there's a lot separating those yet. The Dodgers obviously have a loaded lineup. Like, I don't think there's a lot of separation. I personally have it as the Cardinals, but that's not a stand of, well, I mean, it's not like it's not anything that I think, it's just happening.
You know, I know the Cardinals have been pretty quiet. Or I'm sorry, the Diamondbacks have been pretty quiet lately.
Yeah.
But the more I look at this team, and especially like getting results in the Sims, let me see what my exposures are right now. Hold on, to stacks. So I don't mind that. Actually, pretty balanced, Josh. So 5-man stack exposures, 15% Cincinnati. I'm not including 4 and 3-man stacks.
Sure.
15% Cincy, 11% Arizona, 10% Seattle. Or I'm sorry, St. Louis. So a bunch, so just really mixed in there. And then some Texas, a little bit of San Diego. And then the rest of that is just a lot of 4-man stacks. But to my point against Arizona, or about Arizona,
yeah,
if Dane Dunning really is going to be close to 30%, I don't really care if the Diamondbacks have struggled lately.
No.
That is a really high amount of ownership coming into a guy that is average. And I'm not surprised that Arizona's tied for the second highest stack score on the slate, behind, as you just mentioned, the St. Louis Cardinals, who are far and away grading out as the best stack on the slate in our tools, at least.
Yeah, and I can't get away from them either. So I'm in lockstep with us. They just look too damn good, and they are showing up in everything, no matter what I try to do. I'm rerunning now. Now that we got that Rangers lineup, now that we got the Mets lineup, I'm gonna do another little refresh. Probably be able to do one more while we're on the show, or more potentially. Who knows? But it's looking like if I don't get a ton of offense in game one, it's not going to be a financially lucrative day for Josh Engleman.
You always got the main slate, but
I'm not playing the main slate tonight.
The ones that look to me to just not be all that appealing, although I do have 7% Miami stacks. I do.
Ooh, okay. That's unique. I didn't have a single Marlins batter.
See, I'm okay with it, and I'll tell you why.
Well, to be fair, I don't have a Marlins batter because Yu Darvish is in every single lineup.
In all of your lineups.
Yes,
right.
correct.
So this is the point I was going to make, is that to me, I'm getting 50% Darvish right now. So I'm pretty much around the field on him. With that in mind, having some Miami stacks is not the worst idea.
No, not at all.
And
not that hard to get there. Like, they're under-owned as hitters, particularly in a spot against a 50% owned pitcher. Like, that path is always there. It's awful.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a likely scenario.
And I was going to say, in all likelihood, Darvish ends up tossing a gem, you know?
Yeah. But look, I mean, we have it. We have him with a 4% chance to be the top scoring team. That's 1 in 25.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens once a month. You're going to see this ass end of a team against the best pitcher on the slate, and that guy's just going to get tanked. Just happens. It's baseball.
Yeah, and they have a little bit of pop up at the top of that lineup.
Sure.
You know, Jazz, De La Cruz. He's
Jesus Sanchez, Jake Berger.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys just aren't particularly good, but they have pop. So it's not the craziest thing. And like I said, that's 7%, and it's all 5-man stacks, which makes sense. Why are you trying to 3-man stack the Marlins?
Yeah.
Right? Like that makes a lot less sense than just being like, hey, Darvish is way off today, and they tag him in the bullpen very early. But you know, they're getting no ownership. They're getting like 3% aggregate ownership. What about Texas without Marcus Semien today against Ryan Nelson?
That's a good question. I'm rerunning it now. I was higher on Texas before the show started than we were. I had Texas second in my top stack. We have them fourth. Very similar in score, but just like nominal ranking. I have them as a little bit better of a value too. The value piece of it is going to get better now that you have Jankowski in the leadoff spot at 2,200. Like that's going to be really easy to get to. They're definitely a worse option. I assume that I'm going to continue to be over the field like I was previously, but we'll have to see what that ownership refresh looks like because Travis Jankowski just became a different kind of play. Not that he's any good. I mean, he's a sub 100 ISO type dude, but at 2,200 in a leadoff spot against Ryan Nelson, those plate appearances and stuff start to really matter.
You know, I keep waiting for the second shoe to drop with Christopher Sanchez, but like all of his underlying numbers are actually very good.
I hope he's good today because he's my second most exposed pitcher.
Like, you know, sub 4 xERA, 315 xFIP, 262 FIP. He's not an elite strikeout pitcher, but he's got a 10.5% swinging strike rate. The numbers aren't that bad on him. It's not a good park. So like San Fran doesn't look all that good. 3.9 implied total. What about Philly?
Let me take a look. My refresh just finished, so
Cool. Yeah, you're good.
we could take a peek at what I have for Philly, which I'm guessing is not a ton. But we're about to find out. So if I make that adjustment, perfect. Philadelphia. Not a team I'm really getting to. By the way, the Rangers are now my second most exposed team. That'll probably come down a little bit when the ownership changes, but yeah, I have quite a bit of them right now. For the Phillies, I basically don't have them. The only guy that I have is Real Muto, so it seems like I'm using him as a one-off catcher or like a two-man stack catcher fill for today, which works for me in this spot. Obviously, Real Muto's exceptional. After that, though, like one share of Bryce Harper, a couple shares of Alec Bohm, nobody else from the Phillies side. I hate the park. I generally don't enjoy getting to offenses in San Francisco. It's just a place where balls go to die.
And a 7.5 run total. So yeah.
Yeah. So Sanchez, I'm getting a ton of. Phillies bats, not so much. Same story for the Giants. Like I have no sign of the Giants bats, but I have a bunch of Kyle Harrison.
If there was one high owned pitcher that you'd want to pick on with stacks just to get that leverage, who would it be? For me, it's got to be Arizona against Texas.
Yeah, it's picking on Dunning.
Gotta be, right? I mean, I'm not sure there's another answer to that.
No, agreed. And I'm still like, that's just happening for me. 20% of my lineups right now are Ranger stacks.
Well, you know, I guess the other question could be Dodgers against David Peterson. That would be the other one. Just him pulling 20+% ownership.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly have the salary to be able to do it. It's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first 5 hitters in the projected Dodgers lineup are all 5K or above. Like they are next level expensive at the top. But you have enough salary savings at pitching today that I don't think it would be crazy to get up against that Peterson ownership.
Yeah, and he had that. So he had that labrum surgery. I don't know how deep he even goes into this game. He went 5 1/3 in his last rehab start. Should be. I assume he's okay to go like a decent amount of innings, probably like 80 pitches or something. So, yeah. Who are your top 3 pitchers? This is what we'll do. We do the top 3 pitchers, top 3 stacks, and a homer pick. By the way, back-to-back days of homer picks, I'm locked in. Juan Soto yesterday.
My guy got hurt after his first at-bat.
I know. I saw that. You had Vinny P, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, look, did I somewhat take the easy way out?
Hey, no Real Muto in the lineup.
Oh, hold on. Can you read that lineup? So it's Garrett Stubbs.
Yeah.
Well, that looks a lot better because Garrett Stubbs has like the highest K rate versus lefties on the season for Philadelphia.
Schwarber, Sosa, Harper, Bohm.
Schwarber, Harper. That makes Harrison look even better, honestly.
Sure does. Sure does. Yeah, I mean, they just took, one of their better hitters out of the lineup. I didn't have Phillies before. probably not going to have him now.
No. Hassan said Matt got his homer pick too yesterday. Nice. Yeah, Chris Bryant. So we got them both. Actually, somebody
Josh did not.
DM'd me on Instagram, which I very infrequently am on, but apparently I still have notifications. And he's like, yeah, I parlayed Chris Bryant and Juan Soto homers, and it hit, which is pretty sweet. You
Nice.
know, anytime you get those parlay homers, you're in business.
Just
But
like he
yeah,
drew
it's
it up,
good
I'm
stuff.
sure.
Well, dude, you're betting now. I mean, we can have some fun. We can hit
Soon.
those round
Soon.
robins.
That's the way to do it, man.
It's fun, man. We've been having a blast in the Discord with the expert picks and just the community and everything in there. It's awesome. Oh shit. Okay, top pitchers, top stacks, and homers. The whole thing is every Tuesday, Dinger Tuesday, over at Odd Shopper, which is our betting side, right? It is robust now. The market-based tool, I use it every day. I'm trying to get like 80 bets down a day on that. The expert picks, the premium Discord, the parlay builder, all of that. Just some of the preeminent tools out there and minds in this game. We always do this. All of us give out a homer pick every Tuesday for FanDuel Dinger Tuesday. And if that home run pick hits, only one of them has to hit. We hit 2 of them yesterday. Nathan hit 1, Will Benson, I hit Juan Soto. If that hits, for the next 24 hours after that first home run is hit, you're getting a full week of Odd Shopper Premium for $1 single. That's the Discord, all of the tools, all of the expert picks, you name it. If you like DFS and you like what we do on the DFS side, you're going to love everything on the betting side. So up until I think it's like 8 p.m. today, the entire week, if you wanted to jump in, is $1 single. The link is the link in the description. Let's see. It is. You'll see Odd Shopper Premium down there. Use the promo code DINGER, DINGER, $1 single for the whole week. I forgot to mention that, dude. I mean, why not talk about the promo since we actually hit it? We went 3 weeks without.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Great work.
Yeah.
Hey, I come back. I finally provide my first play. What happens? We get it.
Yes, because your home run hit.
Well, I'm just saying, I was involved in the process and
We
won.
got it last
you
week
idiots
too,
couldn't get it
brother.
done before that.
We got it last week too. We just went a couple weeks in between. But anyway, yo, come say hi in that Discord at Odd Shop. You will love it. I promise you. And if you're a DFS side, all of the Discord's the same, except now you have access to it. So you'd be in the same Discord. $1 promo code DINGER. Top 3 pitchers, Josh.
Yu Darvish, Christopher Sanchez, Kyle Harrison.
Yu Darvish, Christopher Sanchez, Kyle Harrison. Okay, I'll go. So definitely Darvish and Harrison for me. Darvish and Harrison. Definitely now because Real Muto out of the lineup is I think that's actually a really big deal. I know it's only one batter, but the downgrade there is massive.
It's a lot.
Also, not trying to like overreact here, but it's also a downgrade for Christopher Sanchez.
Is it?
I mean, Real Muto is like one of, if not the best defensive catchers in the pitch framers in the league. Stubbs actually isn't bad. His bat's terrible, but he's not bad behind the plate. So no, it's not horrible. I'm just throwing it out there. And then give me, I feel like I have to say Sanchez, but I'll go off the reservation a little bit here. In a spot that I think's possible. Yeah, Palante and Ryan Nelson. Now give me Braxton Garrett as just a little sprinkle there. Top 3 stacks.
Cardinals, Rangers, Reds.
Cardinals, Rangers, Reds. Okay. Give me Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Reds.
Okay.
Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Reds.
Hope you don't like offense after 2:35 p.m., folks.
Homer picks. Don't go to Cincy. They're facing a guy with a 100% ground ball rate for his career.
Hey, just like a team down 3-0 will never come back because no one's ever done it before. Nolan Gorman for me.
Nolan Gorman?
Yeah. Highest on my home run model by a bit.
All right. I suppose we have some fun with this. I think I have to go with someone against Palante now. Right? I think I just have to. Perfect. So give me I mean, Do I give me Ellie?
Okay.
Yeah. Give me EDLR. The old Ellie De La Cruz. Let's go. Anyway, hey, appreciate you guys hanging out. Hey, happy to be back with you, man. Fun stuff.
I miss doing these shows, man.
Yeah, man.
It's a good time.
Absolutely.
It's a good time. We have
Absolutely.
fun. We have fun.
Eric said, never play Phillies pitching with Stubbs catching. He shouldn't even be on a roster. Yeah, look, it's definitely the downgrade is much more amplified because Real Muto is so good behind the plate. That makes a big difference. But anyway, guys, yeah, like I said, Dinger, $1 up until, I think it was a flash though, so you got up until 8 over on OddsShopper, link down there, and 50% off the entire month of MLB Sims Max package. That's every single MLB tool we have, including the Discord Sims, all of the top stacks, pictures, whatever, everything. 50% off. Links down there. You know where to find them. Just open up that description. Come say what's up in Discord. You have questions, hit us up. Good luck today. We'll be back tonight. Eric and Greg, MLB live before lock, 7-game slate. We'll see you back here for the next one. Peace.